There are certain UFC fighters whose fighting styles are so dominant that some fighters have refused to fight them. So here is 5 most ducked fighters in the UFC. Number 5. Khabib Nurmagomedov's ruthless fighting style of just ragdolling his opponents has made it difficult for him to get a fight in the past due to fighters being intimidated by his fighting style. When Eddie Alvarez was the UFC lightweight champion, he was offered Khabib as a potential opponent for UFC 205. He refused to fight him and went for the option he thought would be easier, which was facing Conor McGregor. Even though Khabib's injuries and his poor eating habits has prevented him from conquering the division, he possesses the most deadliest grappling skills in the weight class, where he has the skills of defeating any fighter on any given day. Number 4. Tony Ferguson has just steamrolled his way to the top, crushing all of his opponents, where he has put together a 10-fight winning streak and also won the interim UFC lightweight title at UFC 216. His unusual fighting style has made it into a difficult challenge for a lot of fighters to figure out, which has had opponents avoid fighting him. His opponent Khabib Nurmagomedov pulled out of his fight at UFC 209 when he fell ill on the day of the weigh-ins. Nate Diaz didn't accept to fight Tony Ferguson after many call-outs, and it looks like Conor McGregor may not face Tony Ferguson for a title unification bout due to him looking for a bigger fight. Tony Ferguson is a very high-level fighter who definitely deserves the bigger fights in order to prove that he's the best lightweight in the world. Number 3. Yoel Romero has used his crazy freakish power to absolutely smash just about everyone he has faced, where he had put together an impressive 8-fight winning streak. His violent finishes were so intimidating that 2 former champions refused to face him. When Chris Weidman pulled out of his fight against Luke Rockhold at UFC 199, Yoel Romero was willing to step in on short notice, but Luke Rockhold chose Michael Bisping instead, thinking it was an easier fight. When Michael Bisping became the champion, the next rightful contender was Yoel Romero, but Michael Bisping tried his best to avoid fighting him in favor of facing GSP. Yoel Romero is a freak athlete who possesses the skills to hold the UFC middleweight title in the future. Number 2. Luke Rockhold has used his high-level well-rounded skills to shut down some of the best fighters in the middleweight division. When he was scheduled to come back in action in 2017, the UFC had trouble finding him an opponent, where many fighters turned him down. Anderson Silva declined to fight him, saying that he didn't want to fight him due to him losing his title to Michael Bisping. Yoel Romero was offered Luke Rockhold, but wanted a 3-round fight, not a 5-round fight. Robert Whittaker said it was too soon to fight Luke Rockhold after winning his title at UFC 215. Eventually, number 10 ranked middleweight David Branch accepted to fight him. Luke Rockhold is a world-class fighter who has the potential to definitely win back his title. Number 1. Cris Cyborg is the most violent female fighter in the world, who just absolutely mauls her opponents, leaving them in a bloody mess. She always comes out full force and makes a statement whenever she fights. Only a few have stepped up, where they have just been wiped out violently. With the violent performances inside the octagon, she has had trouble looking for opponents to fight her. Top-ranked featherweight Megan Anderson has declined to fight her on multiple occasions. The UFC Women's Bantamweight champion Amanda Nunes said that she's too small for featherweight, and the former champion Jermaine Durandamy vacated her title to avoid fighting Cris Cyborg. With her now as the UFC Women's Featherweight champion, it is very difficult to see her lose her title, where she may become one of the long-reigning UFC champions in UFC history.